Good morning, or it's kind of good afternoon because it's about 12:30. I woke up relatively late, around 10:30, after 10:30 to be honest, and I had a hearty breakfast. I really enjoyed that, and then I just thought, you know what, I've been thinking about filming this video for a few days now, and I posted on my wall, and I think some of you would really like to see that. So let me put you, where do I put you? So we have dreary weather. It's horrible. It's raining, it's grey. Some other parts of the UK have snow, which is nice. We don't. We just have the nasty stuff. So it has been like that for weeks now. And when we ended the year, I thought I was going to rest and then come back energized and conquer the world. Then we went into a third national lockdown in the UK and it all changed. So I did have a restorative break, I did read a few things, eat well, sleep like there is no tomorrow. But then the first week of work started and I didn't have energy. And then the second week went on and I didn't have energy. And I quickly realized that this lockdown is as painful as the first one. The first one was painful because of the shock, but at least we had nice weather, and although I didn't, a lot of people managed to go out, and we had nice luminosity and all of that. This time, horrible weather. We've been at it for a year now. We're just tired. And so I felt like this time was a bit harder, and at the same time, I have this underlying certainty that I'm a different person. I definitely feel I'm a changed person. I feel that 2021, I'm just not the same. And that's something that I wanted to further explore. And so while I didn't have necessary resolutions, what I did instead is that I decided to be very considerate in everything that I do and really observe the changes that I wanted to make and make them happen in a pragmatic way. And that's why I thought of this series, because instead of telling you these are my 10 resolutions for 2021 and then dropping them after 2 weeks, I thought I'll give you the high level themes, and then roughly around like the halfway point, like 2-3 weeks into each month, I tell you how it actually evolved and how it unfolded, what I stuck to, what I abandoned or what I altered, etc., etc. So I think this is a more authentic way of doing things, and it's also a kinder way for me to seek the improvement that I want to make in myself without setting myself up for failure. So the first big theme that I have for the year is that I want to move house end of June. I want to be in a new place in July, because by end of June I would have spent 3 years in this place. It's a lovely place, I adore it, but I think you will need a bit of refreshing. Ideally I want a place where I can have a proper area to work, like a home office, because this isn't going nowhere. And I also want somewhere with like just tiny area for working out. I just feel that I have now fully embraced the whole being happy in at my place. I just feel that it's a little bit of a hassle to how I'm dealing with things right now. I also want a tiny bit more of storage, because I am still paying for my storage unit, and because of the lockdown and the weather and all of that, I just never had the time to go and actually get some things out. But even if I got them out, I have nowhere to put them. So for all of these reasons, I intend to move house in 6 months. Again, as usual, it is an idea I have in mind. I don't know where I'm moving. I don't know. I did not, I checked a few places, but obviously you don't tell a landlord, oh, I want to move in your flat in 6 months, right? So it's more me doing the research. But while I keep my eyes peeled for nice places, I'm also making sure that my transition would be good and quite seamless. And that's also part of why I want going into that place as the best version of myself, as the Uga that I want to carry forward. And that is the theme that you will see in today's video. So one of the first things is I want to have the truest identity for me in terms of what I take, like my skincare, my clothing, my decor, everything. And that's why I had been using up a lot of the products, because I think my definition of the future space that I want is I want it to be airy. I want to see things in a glorified way. And that's something you will notice, for example, when you go to a luxury store. Back in the day when we used to go to stores, when you go to a luxury store, you don't have things that are piled up and crammed into a corner. Walking into Loro Piana is not the same as walking into a Primark. And you can have that same aesthetic at home without having a massive home, just by having less things. Simple math, right? So I had been looking a lot at my things. That's why I have been paying attention to what I buy. I have been also editing my style. This does not mean that I'm just getting rid of things. It means that I just make sure that whatever I have and whatever I get is really 100% what I want, what I like, what I enjoy. And so with that in mind, in the January capsule, I showed you how I had this little rack and I had all my little shirts here. Obviously, it's the weekend, so all of these things I've worn and they're right there because I've done the laundry, so I'm going to iron them, etc. But that already gave me an idea of what I like, what I wear the most, because I have been wearing these, and that capsule really worked, and I did not necessarily feel the need to buy something more. I'm going to walk you now through what I am not throwing, but like things that I had to get rid of because of XYZ reason. Let me prop you here. So this is kind of my recycling bag or something like that. So oh, actually, I'm gonna take it with me because I need to go to a store to return something and then go to my sister's. So the clothing recycling bit is actually on the way. So this is a tote bag that I received. Like it's 2018, right? So it was back in the day when I used to travel in Eurostar, and that was the day when they launched the London-Amsterdam direct line, and they were handing these away, so I took it. But I don't know exactly what I transported in it. It's just completely stained. I washed it a few times, and the other day as I was cleaning my kitchen, I found it and I decided that I will never use it because it's stained beyond repair. So it's time for me to recycle it. So that's the first thing. And when I say I was cleaning my kitchen, I need to put you on something that doesn't slide. And when I say I was cleaning my kitchen, it's really not the cleaning it as in scrubbing and stuff. It's really organizing it and looking at what I have, trying to have everything in place. That's also part of what I was doing, because I eventually want over the next 5 months to completely transform the aesthetic of the place, such that when it comes to moving, I know everything I'm taking is great, right? The second thing I had to let go of are these pants. They are from Uniqlo, I believe, and I've worn them to death. They're no longer black, they're actually gray. The main reason I'm getting rid of them is because the waist is way too big. So I did have a period of time, remember a couple of years ago, when I was on that medication where I had gained weight, and I wore these quite a lot, even when they were a bit tight. Now it's been a long time since I took that medicine, and so it's all out of my system. So I'm back to my normal weight, which normally I have a very tiny waist, and these are they sit relatively low. So I like higher waisted things, and that's why I'm getting rid of them, because every time that I wore them, they would just fall off. So it's no longer my size. I'm not likely to go back to that size ever. So I just needed to recycle them. and I bought additional pants. In my previous video about the January style, I showed you the pants that I got, the 1940s style pants from Massimo Dutti, so I will insert a clip for you to see. But I also bought a couple other jeans and trousers, so I will insert my little haul right after I finish this clip. Next thing I am recycling is this shirt. I also showed you a couple videos ago. It's my fault because it was all yellow under the arms, and I used a very strong stain remover, so it destroyed it. So it has holes and everything. I will be completely honest in saying that I tried to repurchase it at least 3 times on Cezanne, but it's completely sold out. So yeah. I have enough other shirts that are the same style because I tend to gravitate towards the same style, but it's definitely a shirt that I will miss. Definitely. Yeah. Then these pants are also from Uniqlo. They also have the same problem in that they are lower waist. So I've had them for years, maybe 6 years maybe. Yeah, and they're low waist. I had 3 of these actually because when I bought them, I have this bad habit of buying things in multiples. So they're low waist. They're much bigger than my current size, and I will confess that I was not going to get rid of them until my sister essentially told me off, and she said, "Uga, your pants are falling, and why are you even wearing this?" And it's right because like it wasn't right. So my sister called me out, and she was right. And so with a heavy heart, I had to get rid also of the other color. And the last item I have in here is this white t-shirt. I've had it also for quite some time, and it's also stained beyond repair. And I have used the stain remover that my sister recommended, and that actually worked on my silk shirts. It didn't work for this one, and despite using it multiple times, so I'm getting rid of that. And I need to do one last check of one shirt that was stained. It's a Brooks Brothers shirt that I've also had for years, and it was permanently stained, but I used all kinds of stain removers, including the one that my sister recommended. So I need to see whether it worked or not. If it didn't work, it's this one. It didn't work. So yesterday was my last attempt at wearing it because I get extremely self-conscious when I wear it. So what happened is that not only it has a permanent very dark yellow stain, because I was using so many stain removers on it, the area where I keep using stain removers is actually now transparent. So even when I'm not sweating, it looks sweaty. And also there is something about this specific fabric. This is the non-iron fabric by Brooks Brothers that just makes me sweat buckets, which is not good because typically I wear this shirt and my Brooks Brothers shirts whenever I have important client meetings. But now I'm gravitating more towards my little capsule that I showed you. So I gave it a chance for about an extra year. But yesterday when I wore it, I really didn't feel good because I could see the halos. So off it goes. I still have a couple more shirts from Brooks Brothers. So I have this one. This is this also has the same problem, but because I bought it a bit later, it's not that much of an issue. This one is also this one is also permanently stained. Yeah, this other one I bought exactly at the same time as the one I just removed, and it also has the same problem. Something about the non-iron fabric just makes me like sweat even more, and it's really unsightly, and I don't like it. I feel extremely self-conscious. So after many years of good service, these 2 shirts will have to go and get recycled, so the fibers are used in something else. So this is now my recycling bag. I will now show you the couple things that I bought recently. And then high-waisted trousers from Massimo Dutti. I like them because they are wool. I like this cut. I think it's 1940s or 50s, one of the two. But I noticed that in dresses, at least the 1950s style really suits me. So I just decided that this is a style that I'm going to keep because I love the draping. I love how it looks. I have jeans in this shape. This is the first one. It's a dark gray. I wanted that little marbled look. I didn't want something completely black. It's much bigger than I thought in the waist, but I'm going to be wearing belts with it, so that's fine. And I like that it's actually cuffed. So yeah. This is a sustainable cotton, so it's their Join Life line. So quite cute. That was £26. I have the same one, but actually in blue, so I'll show you. Again, same type of pants. This is the same model in another color. I don't have anything in this classic denim blue. Let me turn on the light, maybe it would help. This is what it looks like. Again, cuffed at the end, so I like that. It's very soft. It's not one of those stiff pairs of jeans. Now, if you look at what I have, I only have these jeans that are actually quite fitted, and these ones, and the ones that I was wearing, that I'm going to wear right after this, are in this color. So I don't actually have anything in this traditional classic jeans. So very good addition to my tiny collection. This is also in the same spirit, but it's a slightly different cut, but still the same type of shape. And the material is different because it's actually a waxed kind of trouser. I've never had something in that type of material. I'm a bit concerned whether it's going to make a lot of noise when I'm walking around, but I thought I would give it a try. And it's also a nice injection of color in my wardrobe, because for the whole month of January I'm only wearing like that sequence of shirts, whichever ones I have. So it's good to have something that is not just jeans or black. So yeah, I really like it. I think it's quite muted. It's a color that actually suits me. So yeah, very happy with that. I like it a lot, so I decided to wear it for the rest of the day. Actually, this is a little bit, although it is a baggy style like the jeans, this feels a little bit more fitted, so I don't really have the wiggle room that I had in the jeans, but it's fine. I think it's still quite generous in terms of cut. I've just had a big lunch, but anyway, I typically don't struggle in the stomach area. It's typically the hips where I have problems, so I think it's quite, yeah, I like the shape of it. It's kind of harem pants, but also balloonish. I like it. Yeah, I'm keeping that for the rest of the day. Hey, it's a couple hours later. I went to my sister's place. We had Indian food. We watched something on TV. We had tea, and now I'm back. So I feel quite good. This was actually the first time I went out in quite a few days, just because I had no reason to go out. And when I was there, she gave me elastics. So what happened is that she ordered, she needed elastics that didn't have the metal part, because it typically snags her hair. But she ordered them off of Amazon, and she received a massive box, because that was like the smallest thing. So I just went there, and I got quite a few for myself, because there is no way she's gonna use all of them. And typically whenever I go to sleep, I usually have two ponytails, so I do go through elastics quite easily. I will now walk you through some of my empties so that I get to recycle them, but also because it is part of really trying to get the aesthetics right. So first thing I finished that I already repurposed is this candle by Diptyque. And I know it's the most basic thing to just go and reuse it, but fine, that's what I did. I finished it, I put it in the dishwasher. This thing didn't come off, so I just reused it as a container. This is the Bay candle, and it is their best seller actually. So if you go on John Lewis, that is the best seller candle for Diptyque. It smells really nice, and it's quite potent. The smell is quite potent. Matter of fact, when I finished it, I had a bit of wax left, and I did not want to toss it. So what I did is I scraped it off, and I put it on top of another candle that I had. And when I lit it, it still smelled like Bay candle for quite some time until I got to the rest of the wax. So it was quite good. I'm not sure I would repurchase. I don't think I would repurchase. This specific candle is something that I had bought as a gift for somebody, and then I never got to give it to them because we were no longer friends. So yeah, I buy expensive gifts for some friends, and she didn't get it. So let me show you now the Empties. So I was as usual going through my bathroom, and I found some more samples. I think these are the last samples that I have, so I selected the ones that I wanted to toss. I'm tossing them because some of them are very old from Belgium, but also I'm tossing a lot of the Origin samples because I remember that when I got my facial at Origins I had a breakout. That was a year and a half ago, and so although they gave me quite a few of these, I was never able to use them because I just had this scarring experience. But I have moved my little what's this called, my hampers on top of the baskets that I had already, and so this is the hamper that my informal mentee gave me, and that's where I keep a lot of my Empties. So let me just grab this little box. I think it's quite convenient because then I can walk you through what I have, and it's a nice place to keep it, and it's in line with what I want to be doing. That is, everything has a place, and that place is quite uncrowded. So I'm just putting some space here, and let's look at what I have in here. Ta-da! Right. While we were on candles, I finished this other candle by Parks London. This is in their aromatherapy line, and it's rosemary and bergamot. I really like these candles. The other day I was very tempted to buy a candle, and then I went around and I decided to actually use up the candles that I have before I allow myself to buy a candle. There is no point in me having so many of these. So I just started using 1 or 2 candles at a time so that I don't have a multitude, and that goes as part of my resolutions, because when I picture myself moving in a few months, I don't want to have a box of half-used candles. I'd rather have 1 or 2 with me, and that's something that I'm definitely keeping in mind as I progress through a lot of the products that I have. Then this is going to be in random order. Then I have this nail polish remover. It's the moisturizing one by Boots. I already repurchased it. I think it's quite soft on my nails. I've been wearing nail polish because we're in January. I'm wearing one of the 2 nail polishes I had selected in my capsule. So today is the Kure Bazaar. I'm going to remove it later on and probably do the other one, Trollop. Then the Dove Invisible Dry. I had discussed this before, but I went back to using spray deodorants after realizing that all my stains from my shirts, my very expensive shirts. I was looking at the last Brooks Brothers shirt, and I see it has a bit of a stain, but I'm going to try to fix it before finally recycling it. But I realized that a lot of the staining that I had was from my deodorants because I went for cream ones. So yeah, I decided to go back to the spray ones. Currently I'm using a men's deodorant by Nivea. This was okay, I just had it and I'm trying to finish all the ones that I had. But as I said, it's spray deodorant going forward. Oh, one more of the Caudalie lip balms. I think I will probably depot it. I think I'm going to depot it and then have it by my bedside. So I'll do that because I have finished quite a few of these. In my skincare routine, I have finished only 2 products. The first one is this LMS Pro Collagen Marine Oil. It is very, very light. I really like it. I would not necessarily purchase it myself. I had it as part of a set, and I feel that it's definitely a step that I need in my skincare. The reason I found the other samples that I decided to remove was because I was looking at what I'm going to use to replace that oil, and I wanted to check that I did not have any oils in my samples. I still need to look a little bit further. If I don't have any oil, I'll probably just use the same oil that I use at night, which is the Virgin Press Marula one by The Ordinary. But I'm happy to be going through a lot of the samples that I have. Then the Camille Rose Curate Moisture Butter. This is a very good moisturizing product, be it for every day or after the shower. It's not very expensive. I really like it. The packaging is a bit misleading because the bottom is quite thick, so actually you don't get as much product as you would expect, but still I definitely enjoy it and I have repurchased it, so something that I'm going to probably keep buying. So highly recommend it because it's just such a low maintenance product. I like it. Then the Tissara Muscle Ease Bath Oil. These are oils that I bought in the first lockdown. I remember throughout April and May I was buying quite a lot. I bought the first ones in March, loved them, and then I bought it again in April and May. So this was the last one that I had on the Muscle Ease. It has ginger, lemongrass and rosemary. I really like it because you don't need much of it. I just put a squirt, a little bit in my bath, and it's very soft, and the smell really fills the air. So if you put it as you're filling the bath water, I just feel like the bathroom smells like this. The ones that I have left are the de-stress ones. So I'm not going to repurchase this just because I think I have one or two more of the de-stress oils, and I have also the massage oil from the de-stress line. So I don't really want to have too many backups. I'd rather just wait until I finish all the oils and then think whether I want to repurchase it. But I highly recommend it. It's I like it. The blend is very, very nice. Something I've been trying to finish for ages was this refill. It's a refill of a shower gel by L'Occitane. I think this one was it verbena? What scent is this? I forgot. Yeah, it's verveine, so it's verbena. I had bought this in Brussels. I didn't like it. Simple. And so I was using it as my hand wash. I had two of these. I finished the first one. This is the second. I have it deposited in the pump, but I finally finished the pouch, and I don't know why it didn't work for me. Typically L'Occitane products are quite nice. This one just didn't do it for me. I just don't know why. Then I have the Kate Somerville's. This is the Exfolikate Glow Moisturizer. It's a sample. I used it 3 or 4 times, so the sample was quite, big enough, because typically samples last me 1 or 2 uses, but this was something where I really got to enjoy it. I loved the texture of it. Something about it feels like your skin bounces back at you. It's very cocooning. Kate's products are pretty well formulated in my opinion. They're never aggravating. Even her Exfolikate, which is how I got into the brand to begin with, is, while it's very strong, it's something that never fully irritated my skin. So I really like her product line. I know that she's been recently expanding her offering in the UK, so perhaps that's why I received a sample. But I really enjoyed it. I would probably consider buying the full size of the moisturizer when I run out of moisturizers. And then this last thing that I have in here is not really finished. I'm just tossing the bottle, and I'll tell you why. So this is Ma'moul wa Nasa, and it's essentially, so oud is agar wood, and it's used a lot in Arabia for as a perfume for the house. You use it to fragrance all your environment, your clothes, your hair, whatever. And they make these little balls. This is one that I bought from Abdul Samad al-Qurashi, which is a very nice brand for that. But I don't like their bottles, especially this thing. It's so, this cheapens it. I don't know. I've never been someone to like glitter and certain things like that, and this lid annoys me to no end. I know. So that's all I had in my box. Something happened. Well, I have another empty, which is my Don't Despair Repair. That was a hair mask by Briogeo. It was in a massive jar, but I actually already recycled it because it was massive, and I wanted to get rid of it. So what happened is that my mentee, so one of my mentees is Chinese, and she sent me this, because right now she's working in China. She sent me this box for Christmas, and it is a traditional box that comes from her region, and it's lacquered wood, and apparently they work it layer by layer, and there are about 100 layers to this. So it's very delicate artifact from her region, and I really loved it. And she sent it, and it's a red color because in Chinese traditions the red color is gives you luck or something like that. It's a nice color. So what I did is that I just put my mole in here. So that's what was in the box from Abdus Samad Al-Qurashi. I just moved it into this box, and that's something that I like to use to scent the house. Just opening it here, you can smell the fragrance. So yeah, very, very delicate, beautiful gift. So I'm very happy with it. Before I put my box back in here, I want to show you what I have in the other one. So I actually have a whole collection of socks that I bought recently. These are from a brand called Nordic Socks, and they are wool, and then I chose these crazy designs, and the story is very simple. So I have quite a few, and I'm wearing some right now. That's all in, and so it's ready for when I do my next update video. So the socks story is very simple. The way my house is set up, I have obviously different heaters, but where I work and I spend most of my time, that little spot, there is no heat that comes in there. And I had slippers that I had to let go of because I washed them and they got destroyed in the machine because I forgot and let them go in the dryer cycle, so they melted. And then I had a couple other slippers that were from Muji that I had for a few years, but something about their design is wrong because they always made my feet sweat very, very badly and even smell, which never happens to me. So I decided eventually to get rid of them. And so all I had was my Birkenstock sandals, and most of the time I would either wear my sandals or wear shoes or whatever I was wearing. I just felt like my feet were super cold. And I had a very nice pair of socks. I can't find them, but they're from Brora cashmere. This top is also from Brora. It's a very nice brand, and they have the softest cashmere ever. Not the most fashionable, but I love it. And so I was wearing these socks to death. Like I would wear them, wash them, wash them, and one of them eventually got a hole in the right foot, and I remember going to my sister's place and I told her, look, these are my favorite socks and now I have a hole, so I need to fix them. And she was like, or you also need to have more pairs of socks. And that was just like light bulb moment, because the thing is I was extremely grumpy. Like I would be working, I would be extremely grumpy because my feet were so cold, and so I just decided to buy these, and I've been very happy. You know, sometimes whenever I buy things like that, if you didn't know me, you'd think I'm very impulsive. But actually, it was weeks that I was looking at the brand, and I was thinking, do I buy, do I not buy, do I buy, do I not buy? And I eventually bought them. Very happy with my purchase. The same thing as with my the different trousers that I got. I've been wearing them non-stop. So a lot of my purchases are quite considerate. So I like that. While we're on the purchase thing, I have a few things that are on my wish list that I'm still not getting yet, but I just thought maybe I'll share with you. So I still want to have the bronzer, the cream bronzer and the cream blushes from Fenty Beauty. I know I mentioned them over 6 months ago, but as I said, I'm a very slow buyer. They're still on my wish list. I'm still going to get them, especially that in my January capsule I was wearing, I had chosen this Bobbi Brown cream like peau rouge as my usual blush, and that's what I usually wear, even though I'm not wearing any foundation or concealer or anything, so you can see all the imperfections. I just put a tiny bit of that and it just feels really good. So that definitely confirmed that I really want to have that Fenty Beauty thing. I think I'll wait 3 or 4 more months and then I will buy it, but it's still on my wish list. And then the other thing that's on my wish list is an eye mask. It's a silk on silk Mulberry silk mask, that is just big like this, and it's from a brand called Holy Silks. It's extremely expensive. It's £65. And Lisa Eldridge, she's a makeup artist. Lisa Eldridge has many of these, and you know, I don't really care about the new crop of influencers, you know, the people who get paid to go to hotels and snap photos, and then they say, oh, this is the best product, holy grail, and then it changes every 2 weeks and they've never even used the product. It's just because they got paid. When Lisa Eldridge recommends something, for me, she has that influencer power, because she does not need the sponsorship, because she does not feel that she feels that she has a legacy, and so she will not just go and say, oh, I love this product, it's like the best ever, and then 2 weeks later switch to something else. She's so grown up, mature, and confident in her choices that when she says she likes something, my eyes go like, beep. So I've seen this mask in her videos many times. She has multiples of them, and she keeps recommending it, and I keep telling myself, Uga, if you buy a mask, you'll have one. And you like eye masks. I've been using eye masks for ages, but the most expensive eye mask I bought was probably £6 from Zara Home, and it wasn't silk. But anyway, I do have these ones from Flying Tiger, but the problem is that because they go like this, they put a lot of pressure on my nose, and I have my nose bridge. Like I have a pretty long and nose, right? And that pressure is quite painful because it only has a single band. So I have this one. The green one is an old one, and so the elastic has worn out. So now it doesn't really it doesn't stay on my face. And the one that is new, the elastic is too hard, so it's painful on my nose, and I can't breathe well. The way the Holy Silks masks are designed is that they have like a relief around here, so my nose bridge will not hurt, and also they go all the way down, which means that the light won't come in. And they have 2 straps, so you can actually see it doesn't go like this and it's not painful. You actually tie them and you personalize it. So it's very luxurious, very decadent. It's £65. I might get it. I will let you know. I have been thinking about it for a bit. It's on my wish list. We will see. I've just emptied the wax from this, and so I'm just adding it to my recycling. When I was asking in the comments what you wanted to see, someone commented that you wanted to see what I had in my teas. So this is my tea corner. It did not change much from the previous times, but my favorite, or most common brand of tea would be probably Fortnum's. So I have here Countess Grey, Earl Grey Classic. These are some, it's the same as this, but it's in sachet form. I have Moroccan Mint, and here it's green tea with ginger, also from Fortnum's. I do have some other bits, like this is Gold Spice. This is not a tea, this is actually a spice mix that I got from a guy that I used to run with. His name is Tom, but he's back in Australia now, and he used to sell these, and you would use it to make my golden lattes. So I'm almost done with this. And then I have Kushmi tea, so this is the detox one. And then I have a couple from Daylesford, so the Digest and the Masala Chai. Whatever else I have in here will probably, and the Daman Frère, this is black tea, so I don't really take much of it. And these are just my sachets. The 2 brown ones I got from my sister. This I received in a Christmas box, and I also finished a few teas from Fortnum's that I had in my little hamper that I have already tossed. The latest, this is a chai. I don't really like the chai from Fortnum's. The latest addition, it's something that I only bought this week, is actually this genmaicha, I don't know how you say it, but it's essentially green tea with toasted rice, and that's something that it's almost, I don't know how to describe, but it's almost savory. It's almost like you're eating a salty thing with your tea, and I really like it because I think it has a sentimental value. When I was in Brussels, when I worked in Brussels, there was a small Japanese restaurant right in front of the office, and I used to go there quite a lot. I would take my team member and things like that, and whenever I would actually eat inside, I would always order some tea, and I would get that. So it was just, I don't know, I think now that I'm no longer as scarred by my horrific experience in Brussels, I just feel like I can go back to enjoying some of the things I enjoyed when I was there. So part of what I wanted to do was reorganize my little tea section. I made really a concerted effort to not buy a lot of teas, but you can still see that I have quite a lot. I don't regret it. Now, I had also these things from Daylesford, and it's because, now, don't get scared, but like my fridge is quite full, because I did have a couple of weeks where I had nothing to eat. So I was almost trying to get food as much as possible, but then I managed this week, as part of my pseudo resolutions, to really make sure I have everything that I need. So it's a little bit overcrowded because I was still figuring it out, but I think I will get to a balance. But anyway, one thing I like to have is this truffle pate. So it's a mushroom with truffle. It's like a liver pate but made with mushrooms, and I really like it on toast, and so I buy it quite a lot from Daylesford, and every now and then I will have these empty ones. Sometimes I keep them, but I was thinking part of making sure that this thing is not overcrowded is also just having some of my teas in this thing. So that's what I want to do right now. So if I pop you out here, then I can actually just have this. So this is the chai from Fortnum's. God. I think it looks quite good. I can always remove this label later, but yeah, so that's the chai. And then I really prefer this masala chai from Daylesford. I don't need the whole box, it's quite massive because I'm almost done with it. Oh, there isn't really much left. So I'm actually, there isn't really much left, so I'm gonna leave it like that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just leave it outside so I can use it in the next 2 days. Instead, I will put the Digest tea, also by Daylesford, in this little jar. It also doesn't have much. There you go. So here is my updated tea corner. So I decided to leave this outside, so it's going to be here for a couple of days. This is also something that I will finish probably within a week, so I might also leave it here so that I remember. So I have these two in here, and then my tea corner will have the Kushmi Detox tea, the Earl Grey Classic. Countess Grey is the one I drink most of the time, so most days that's the one I would have. Then I have the other two, and now you can see these little jars. I think I can keep this set up because I'm gonna have quite a few of these small jars. I use them quite a lot, so I think it looks cute. I don't even need to label it because I typically know what my teas are. And so then I have this last one here. Much better. Much better. Now I'll pop this. Now all my teas fit in here. If you excuse the mess, which I need to clean, the last couple of things I wanted to show in my kitchen are this. So remember how I said I did not have a lot of food? I recently decided to buy fruits and ginger and all that stuff, and I actually had quite a few weeks where I didn't really have much to eat in this area, and I noticed that I would just go and eat cookies or something just because I would always be hungry. So now that I have fruits, I'm actually very happy. I have mandarin, which actually, it's been ages since I had these, and for some reason they make me so unbelievably happy. I've been eating this non-stop, and I need the vitamin C, especially in this weather. Then I got this thing. It's made in Japan, and it's a special Tamago Pan. So when you have a tamago, is essentially your egg, right? And they have a special way of cooking their omelette where you pour a little bit and then you start rolling, and then you pour a little bit and you roll. Something about it is very meditative. So I just wanted to give it a try, because I also want to make sure that when I cook things, I do it in a way that I enjoy my food. I enjoy the process of making it. So I want to have less stressful meals. So that's definitely something. I'm going to remove all the stickers and wash it and all that. This is an old box of the Christmas fruit and spice cookies. These are biscuits. I'm going to recycle them too. And the last thing that I need to address is this. I have kind of destroyed my Le Creuset pan. This is a very good pan. It's my fault, I think, because at the beginning I used to put it a bit in the dishwasher, and also it would be very hot and I would put some cold water on it. All of these are no-nos. So I kind of destroyed it. I need to clean it again, but it is not as good as it used to be. So I will have to buy a new one and be very careful with it. I am at the point where a lot of my pans are destroyed. This is a very, very good quality one. Le Creuset is a very good brand. So it's really my fault on this one. So I'm going to buy... I don't want to buy things until they are completely needed, and in this case this is completely needed, because no matter how much I wash it, it just is not working. And similarly, I no longer have, oh, it's not here, I no longer have a decent what is this called, like a pan. These are this one is just from Waitrose, so it was very inexpensive, but every time I put it in under the fire, I have this very acrid, it smells like acid. I don't like it, and that's what happened also with my other pans. So eventually I might need to replace a lot of my stuff with Le Creuset, because I just really like that brand, but it's quite expensive, so I'm taking my sweet time. I have the same thing happening in this was actually Tefal for Jamie Oliver collection, and I had this happen in my other utensils with time, which doesn't happen with Le Creuset. So I'm not mad, I'm just a bit annoyed at myself for having done this, but I was under a lot of pressure. I didn't have time to take care of my kitchen and all of the stuff. So I'm going to clean all of this, but I'm very happy with the changes that I made. So it's not really big resolutions, it's just really making sure that I have enough of fruits and good things to snack on, because I had a period of time where I didn't have much of that. It's making sure that my pantry is stocked. I also bought these things, and I made Tissara, which is the split fava bean soup. I really like that. So it's just little things like that, because this is misleading. I always have these spices and it looks like I have a lot of things, but actually when you need food you need to look a little bit up, and that's where I need the stuff. Last time when I showed you my cooking, I use a lot of saffron, so I ended up buying a refill of saffron. So this is from Iran, as I said. I couldn't find Moroccan saffron, but this is a very good Iranian saffron. I usually give it as friends as gifts to friends. So because I didn't mention this in my previous video with the tagine, but I usually like to, whenever people say they're interested in cooking Moroccan food, I try to get them a small gift basket with things that they would struggle to find if they were to cook Moroccan stuff. Or just, like a little starter pack. You would have ras al-hanout, you would have some saffron and rose water and things like that, just so that they're not really
disappointed. So I need to organize this little bit more. As I said, because I did my big shop, it was a bit crowded, but I think I give it a week or so and then it will be all good. So that was my kitchen resolutions. Better utensils, get better at stocking up my kitchen so that I don't go from famine to this mess, and really making sure that things are in nice containers, that they're organized, that my tea section, for example, is not overflowing. So I will do a lot of things like that. In cooking a little bit more meditatively, so that's actually quite enjoyable. I have been doing this. I just need to make sure that I clean as I cook so that I don't end up with the mess that you see behind me. It's not really horrible when you look at it like that, especially this side. This side is fine, but I just need to get a bit, get on top of all that. This section is actually to introduce my fitness resolution. So I did not really have a very bold fitness resolution. What happened is that I initially said I'm going to work out every day, and I'm going to work out every working day at 7 a.m. Get up, do my class, shower, get ready, and start working. I was very careful in not formulating it as a resolution, because I might be disappointed. And this is essentially what happened, because when I was on vacation it was okay, and then I started slipping a few days here and there, and then I actually went back to work, and that was just impossible. Like, I'm not physically able to wake up at 7. It's just too painful. That's the first thing. And even when I go to sleep relatively early, I still can't wake up. And I just realized that part of it is the weather, it's how dark it is and all that. And part of it is just I'm just tired, I guess. So I reconsidered, and instead of being disappointed at myself, I decided to just switch it. So instead, I started working out at 5:30 p.m. And this switch actually worked, because I wake up whenever I wake up, I do my work, and then I work out, and if there is some more work to do, I would have worked out and had a dinner, so it's a good 2-hour break, and then I can work again. So that actually is a compromise where I'm happy I did not firmly commit on working every day early morning, because I'm not an early bird, and I just didn't manage to become one. So the fact that I have all my washing in there is actually a good sign, because this week I managed to work out a few times. Very happy with that. I feel like it's a very good compromise, because I don't go out. Like today I went out, and that's really exceptional. It's been days since I went out, and I feel like it's a very good compromise, because I actually get to maintain my physical health and not feel bad. Because imagine if I tell myself I'm going to start working out at 7 a.m. and I miss my workout, I already set my day to be on a negative mood, because I already failed to achieve the first thing in the morning, right? Whereas if I say I'm going to work out at 5:30, at least I have achieved quite a few things in the day. If at 5:30 I'm not able to do it, so be it. So that's also a tweak that I had, and I'm very happy with it. The last two things that I had as pseudo resolutions and how they evolved. Oh no, I need to show you what I bought because of that. It ties to the next resolution, but I just didn't know where to fit it. These are little rests for my knees, because part of why I did not like working out is because my knees hurt. And so this is something, just a silicone thing. The brand is called My Yoga. Just a silicone thing. You put it and then you can kneel on it or anything. So that ties to the next resolution, which was I had noticed that I was not really taking care prioritizing my health. And that's something that I was very annoyed about in 2020. You would remember that I was complaining quite a lot about having that burning sensation in my knees. I finally went to a physio, and all it took was actually cracking my back and doing a couple exercises, and I no longer have the burning sensation. And that's the thing, because I am a healthy person. I do eat well. I don't have a very bad posture at work and all that stuff. So it was just surprising that for months I had that horrible pain. Sometimes it would even swell. So it was just that misalignment that was just pulling, and that's why I had that nervy burning feeling. So I'm glad I have addressed it, and I promised myself that I should always prioritize my health. Similarly, I had a problem with my, you know how I always say I get these migraines? Part of the reason I get the migraines is because I grind my teeth really badly, and I also grind my teeth during the day. So most people do it during the rapid eye movement when they're asleep. But for me, I actually also find myself clenching my teeth so hard during the day. I finally went to the dentist, and I got it completely checked. So it's not like the usual consultation. We did a very in-depth scan. So I had a full scan of my mouth in color, real, like it looks like you're inside my mouth. She used a very special camera that actually, it's a new technology. We did all the radios and all of that, and actually it's quite serious. So we had to adjust a few things in my teeth. We had to grind a couple parts because the pressure was just a lot. And actually, because I typically wear a retainer, I clenched my teeth so hard that the retainer had cracks. So next week, end of next week, I'm going to have a much stronger retainer. It's mouth guard. Mouth guard is the correct word. A much stronger mouth guard, and I have to wear it at night, obviously, but also most times during the day, especially if I'm stressed, because that would relieve the pressure. Because I was supposed to do a specific massage, and when I did it, like, it was just too painful. So that's also one of the resolutions, because sometimes I will just say no, it's too much of a hassle, or I don't want to pay for it, etc. And I'm like, no. What I learned from 2020 is that this pandemic has really emphasized the importance of being financially secure, of having money, of having good health, and of taking care of oneself. And we don't have the same chances, we don't have the same access to a lot of things, and so I need to really do my best to fix this. So yeah, I've been doing a bit of that. I need to get better at it. I need to get better at the whole preventative medicine. Obviously, part of the reason why I usually hesitate is there is also a cost element to it. It's not really affordable because I go private. There is no way I'm gonna go to the NHS right now when the health service is beyond overwhelmed. That is just selfish. But obviously, if I can go to another place that has the capacity, is not really involved in the pandemic fighting efforts at all, then I'm fine with that, because it's also part of keeping the economy afloat. It's just that I needed to budget it. I needed to really make sure that I don't start a treatment and then I can't finish it. So that's also part of the thing. One of the comments I received was about my financial goals. So in the next episode, I will address my financial goals and any other resolutions that I took. Yeah? And the last resolution I had at the end of 2020, and how it has evolved now 2 weeks into 2021, was about reading more books. In the same vein of not wanting to be moving with tons of boxes, I did not really buy any books in 2021. I know I bought quite a few towards the end of 2020, but so far I did not buy any books, and I don't intend on buying physical books. I want to go over what I have here already, and then eventually consider buying books once I'm in my next place. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I had a premium Audible membership, and which means that I had a credit every month. And there were some months where I would actually let my credits expire, and I know it's not really good. So I just went and I had the discipline of buying a lot of books. I used up my credits. I might have 1 or 2 left, but I used up a lot of my credits. I bought all the books that I wanted to buy, There are also some books that you can get for free with your Audible subscription. So I downloaded quite a few, and I'm not reading or doing audiobooks as much as I thought. I think it's still part of finding my routine, because I was good at it when I was on vacation, but then as I started working, it became almost impossible. So that's something that we will address in February's update. I'm not going to do any resolution on books for now. I'll work on all the other bits that I told you about in this video. So I think I have covered 6 or 7 resolutions. And this is how far I got to 2 weeks into it. Let's see what February brings up.